Yeah, so we're excited today to have Stephen Fletcher, who's in charge of youth services with family services at Davidson County. Don't have a whole lot of background on him, but had reached out to Tim Tilley a while back and had gotten some information that Stephen would probably be interested in sharing some information about what they do. So, Stephen, it's up to you to share some of your background and bio with us today. Educate the club like we talked about, and see if there's ways that we can help you guys out and all that you do for the area.
Oh, no, Stephen, for some reason, check the phone and make sure it's not muted. We're not hearing you again. No, not hearing. Look at it on your phone. No. No, still not hearing you. That's interesting. Try calling in one more time.
Is that a number?
No. No, we did. And you know, we heard you when you first called in.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll give Stephen a minute. It's always, you know, that we definitely have, it's been an interesting journey in this virtual environment. We figure different stuff out every week. We're getting there.
And of course, it would be the presenter who's.
Oh yeah, that's the way it works. Go ahead, try again, Stephen.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
There we go.
Perfect.
Okay. So my name is Stephen Fletcher, and I am the Youth and Community Services Coordinator with Family Services here in Davidson County. A little bit about my background. I have been working in behavioral health probably for about 20 years, maybe. My background is in foster care. I've worked in adoptions. I've worked with juvenile justice youth. I've done some post-adoption work with families who have already have adopted, and I've done a lot of program development for community programs specific to youth. And I joined Family Services in March and have been with them with they had 5 grant-funded programs at the time, and since I have been on, we've added a new program to the mix, which was kind of interesting, being a new employee to start something up so quick, but we got it up and going, and that's a little bit about my background. In regards to the services that the Youth and Community Service Program provides here, we offer comprehensive services to youth to assist in reducing juvenile delinquency. Those services are throughout Davidson County, so that includes Thomasville and Denton, Lexington itself, and the surrounding area. We do provide a holistic approach to the all of the programs that we have. And so what that means is we are working with the family, we're working with the child, we're working with other service providers who may be involved. If there is a service that we identify as being something that the family needs, we make sure that we are getting out referrals to the neighboring community programs to make sure that we are helping those youth and those families. Within the Youth and Community Service unit, we do have 6 grant-funded programs, and those grant funds come from our local Juvenile Crime Prevention Council. And in addition, we also do receive funding through our United Way. A little bit about those programs. First one, we have one called Keeping Up. Keeping Up is for youth who are ages 11 to 16. That program is for youth that are in school who are in danger of being suspended or who have been suspended, who are struggling with some behavioral issues at school and they can't quite get their work done for whatever reason. And so what we do is we have 3 staff that are in that program, one being a teacher and 2 social workers. And one of those social workers is a licensed therapist. And so we work with those students to make sure they're getting credit in school where they do not get behind. We do address some of their behavioral concerns that we're having. We work on social skills with them. It is a smaller environment, so we do provide a lot of one-on-one support to those youth. And we're also addressing some things that they may have experienced or seen even in the home. So we're making sure that we're trying to offer them a level of support. Within that program, a component of that is our parent support group. And a lot of parents who are part of that group are individuals who just they're struggling with what might be common sense parenting to you and I. And that we actually use an evidence-based curriculum called Common Sense Parenting. And so it is a program that helps them kind of redefine the structure of what the home should look like. We have a lot of youth who have unfortunately become the parent in the home for a variety of reasons. They may have been traumatized, or their parents might have issues with substance abuse. And because of that, some of the kids have felt compelled to have to step up and be the parent to a younger sibling. Our Keeping Up program last year served 31 youth in Davidson County. And our support group for our parents have served 10. And those numbers are for families that were directly tied to the juvenile justice. With that, both of those programs we do receive referrals from other community agencies, DSS, the school system, but the priority, because it is funded through our local juvenile crime prevention, does go to the youth directly involved with juvenile justice. Another program we have is the Family Empowerment Program. That program serves youth who are 7 to 17. We meet with a family 8 to 10 sessions, depending on kind of what's going on. That's provided with 2 staff. Those social workers go into the home and they do some things with the family to help support, to empower the family to be a little bit healthier. There might be some issues with boundaries. We might have some parents who may have had some substance abuse issues and their child has lost respect for them for whatever reason. And so what we're trying to do is to work with that family to reestablish what a healthy family looks like. And so those social workers meet once a week with that family, and they provide some social skills work. They help identify what are their goals, what are their dreams, what do they want to do, because a lot of those families have lost sight of that. And so with that, those 2 social workers work as hard as they can during those 8 to 10 weeks to kind of reestablish some goals and boundaries for that family. With that, last year, we served 51 families between the 2 staff. And so the social workers there have done some really, really good work with families who are struggling even with transportation. They're empowering them to kind of figure out ways to utilize the services here in the county to make sure that families are being able to get the help that they need. Seeking Safety is another program that is in our unit, and that program provides individual and group therapy. Seeking Safety is an evidence-based model that works with youth who have experienced post-traumatic stress disorder or substance abuse. And so part of that model is helping those youth establish healthy boundaries. What do healthy relationships look like? What are some healthy coping skills? because a lot of what they're doing is they're seeing what has taken place with either their family within their home or extended family. And so what we're trying to do is work with them where we can establish what is a healthy life? How can I become productive within my own community? The therapist that leads that group she does a male group and a female group. That way, they're youth that can kind of work with each other and identify some of the same issues that's going on. That program works with youth who are 7 to 17 as well. And there's really not a limit on how often. It's just that therapist works with the youth to kind of figure out what do they need, what other services they need to make them feel supported. Last year, we serviced 52 youth in that program. And so that one social worker was very busy last year with those youth. We have a professional mentoring program. And what we mean by professional mentoring is our mentors they do come with a lot of experience, but they also have a degree. They either in a bachelor's of social work or a bachelor's in a human service field such as psychology or sociology. And we use an evidence-based model called TEAM. And within that model, we are teaching those youth vocational skills. Those youth tend to be a little bit older. The program is designed for 10 to 17-year-olds. But we have a lot of youth who have vocational needs. They're making transition from school to wanting to get a job or needing to get a job, helping them with how to fill out a job application. We also look at a holistic point of view with them as well. So we are looking at their wellness. What does their wellness look like? We've partnered with our local YMCA here in Davidson County and got a membership where we can take those youth to the YMCA to kind of give that holistic point of view of taking care of your mind and your body. And then also where they're around other youth of their age. Something that we do with that program is we do bring those youth together on occasion where they can kind of be around other people who have the same goals that they do and the same wants and desires. Last year, we served 22 youth, and that program is specific to juvenile justice youth who are level 2 or level 3. And what that means is level 3 youth in juvenile justice have been in either a hospital or the youth development center, and they're coming back into the community. And so what we're trying to do is to do a step down approach where they're coming back into the community in a healthy way. And we're trying to get them engaged in some services and involved in some services with their family where they're not going back, reoffending, and possibly getting in trouble again. Level 2 youth are youth who are in danger of going to the youth development center. And with that, we try to do a lot of prevention work with them. And we talk about their goals. What are their goals and dreams? Again, it's a holistic approach. We talk to families. We get involved with the school systems with that. And we do try to help as much as possible with trying to establish some healthy goals and boundaries. Our newest program, last year, it was a lot of planning. And we started this past June, our teen court, which has been very interesting due to COVID, because we have not been able to actually go into the courthouse. So we have been doing virtual sessions, and that's been very, very interesting to work with the families and with the youth to go through a court process, a formal court process, but do it virtually. Since June, we have received 5 referrals that works with 10 to 17-year-olds. It's an interesting program because it's a peer-to-peer model. The jury is a jury of their peers. The attorney is a peer. We do utilize the bailiff, the sheriff's office, which is our bailiff service, and we do have a judge that will be sitting on the judge once we go back into the courthouse. But right now we're working with youth, and they kind of determine the fate of their peer. Those youth that's minor misdemeanors that they may have been involved in, but it's a diversion program. It's a prevention program to keep them from going back into some old ways or bad habits. And if they complete the program successfully, it does not go on their record, and which is really helpful to youth not to be labeled so early on, because we have some 12-year-olds right now in our teen court program that they were at the wrong place at the wrong time. They made some bad choices. And when talking to them, they're like, well, there's no hope for me. This is what my family does. And so to be able to work with them and empower them to see that, you know what, you can make a change, and you can be successful. And so they report out to a teen court manager once a week via phone and check in. We work with the family. We establish some boundaries within the home, such as curfew. I personally, I've got a 14-year-old and 17-year-old, and I've never heard of not having a curfew for my kids that young. And so establishing curfews, we didn't realize that would be such a big deal, but establishing curfews and just respect within the home. And they have goals that they have to work on. They have to do community service. Sometimes they do have to pay restitution. We do work with a local community service program that is also JCPC funded. And we try to help that child out as much as possible, where they do not reoffend and become part of the adult system. All of these services have been very interesting since COVID-19 has impacted us, because we've had like today, doing things virtually via Zoom. We have used similar systems here to reach out to the children and families. Unfortunately, the population we serve they do struggle financially. And so some of them may not have internet, some of them may not have devices to be able to connect with us. And so we have gotten really, really creative and continue to get really, really creative to make sure that we continue to serve those families. Now that things have opened up a little bit more, we are doing some one-on-one contact. But we do have special parameters in place for social distancing within our office. But a lot of families were still trying to do things virtually via Zoom, or even on just a conference call, making a phone call and checking in. And the difference it still continues to make, despite some of the challenges that COVID has put on our community. Our program, in regards to ways that you all could help, our program, like I said, we do work with families that do struggle financially. And something that we're trying to do, obviously, here at Family Services is stop the spread as much as possible. And so we're limiting contact. So as scarce as, this is almost funny to ask, but as scarce as supplies are in regards to hand sanitizer, wipes, wipes where we can sanitize things. We're having to get with our water fountain. We're not allowing the youth to use the water fountain. And so maybe reusable water bottles where we can provide them stuff like that. A lot of youth, we want to reward them for some of their hard work. So $5 gift cards to Walmart or Food Lion or something like that, just to try to give some support to them. where they can see. Also, because of COVID-19, we have been, as an agency, to be transparent, affected by it. We did receive some grant funds to help support us. However, with our youth not having access to devices and being in the situations they have, it has put us in having to modify some of the things that we do. And we have been impacted from some of our funders not being able to provide, because we're nonprofit, not being able to provide the financial support they once did. And so it's affected our fundraiser. This past year, we have not been able to do the fundraiser like we normally do. We are going to be doing it virtually. And so that'll be interesting how that pans out once we get going with that. But something that is minor is the wipes and stuff like that. I know that kind of stuff is scarce, but with us having youth coming back into the building, we know that children tend to, they have their own germs that they carry, and we try very hard. We sanitize the hall every 2 hours, and so we do go through a lot of stuff. But that is our Youth and Community Services unit, and that's what the services we provide here within Family Services of Davidson County.
Yeah, Stephen, thanks for sharing all of that with us. It was it's really interesting to hear, a lot of things that go on, especially with youth, and just kind of wondering, and I guess we'll open it up for questions and hope you can call on those. But my first question is kind of, obviously, talk a little bit about protection and that sort of thing that you guys have when you're making home visits or pulling, having DSS referrals, kind of what that looks like in this environment, and how you guys have adjusted. I imagine that's been pretty tough.
Right now, in regards to home visits, our agency is not providing home visits because we do not know what sanitation looks like within the families that we serve. And so we do have visits set up where they can come to the office and provide services here because we do have the space to be able to secure social distancing here. And we are asking people to wear masks. We take their temperature. We have screening questions that we provide. If they cannot make it to the office, we are trying our hardest to overcome obstacles in regards to any kind of technology. So it might just end up being a phone call. But we're really trying hard to partner with juvenile justice and the community agencies to continue to provide support as much as possible. It has obviously impacted us, but the families we were only doing phone calls and virtual sessions, kind of on a system similar to Zoom. And now that things have opened up a little bit, families are making a point to make it a priority to get here, to get the face-to-face services. And so on our unit, we have designated space that's used to provide those services where we can do that face-to-face contact.
Wow. Thank you, Stephen. And are there any, you guys, if you have questions, unmute yourselves so that we can ask those questions. Stephen, you mentioned, most of the programs being based off evidence-based, things. Where are some of the areas that these programs have been developed, and how long have they run, and the type of success that has been seen with them?
So the Keeping Up program specifically, it runs for some youth. They are here right now. We're in the middle of a summer program. And so that program is 6 weeks. And then we will start our new session for the school year on August the 17th. We try to line that up with how the school calendar looks. And it runs the full calendar year for school, just like school. We try to honor the calendar that the school system has. That way, if the kiddos are off in school, they would be off here. There are some modifications we have. FEP is a family empowerment program, is a 8 to 10 week program. If we do have to go beyond that, there is some special permissions that we kind of look and assess things. But that is an 8 to 10 week program. Seeking safety is honestly based on need. We don't really put a time limit on that because we don't know what traumas the children may have experienced. Mentoring is 1 year. We do provide that for 1 year, and we assess from there if it's needed more, but we try to stick with 1 year. And then our teen court program, depending on what the offense is and what class the misdemeanor is, can run anywhere from 60 to 120 days. So it depends on exactly what kind of trouble did they get into, and how long could that their payback be. And like I said, we do community services. They might have to do a verbal apology. They might have to do one of the essay topics that we have is what does juvenile crime look like in North Carolina? And they have to do research papers on that to really educate themselves. And so it varies from program to program. In regards to success, we have been here lately. I just reported out on Monday that we're getting phone calls from families that are telling us, and from juvenile justice, thank you so much for what you've done. And so they tend to be very successful. We do have some youth that might be part of multiple programs, but our programs, generally speaking, except for seeking safety, because that does run a little bit longer. Once we discharge them, they either go into a lower level of care, or if we identify that maybe our program's not going to be restrictive enough, maybe they need something that's a little bit more than what we can provide, we refer that out. So they have been, all of these programs, minus Teen Court, because that is a newer program, that we have had those grants, fortunately, from our local Juvenile Crime Prevention Council for some years now. And we have to have that renewed once a year. And so I would say, based off of success, that all of them are very, very successful.
Awesome. Great. It's amazing how many programs that you guys keep going, and how you reach those at-risk, youth. Does anybody else have a question for Stephen?
I do. Stephen, I just wonder, of all of the youth that you serve, what % of them would you say are from Thomasville?
Because honestly, because I'm newer, I've been here since March. I honestly can't answer that question. I could pull the data though. But we do, like I said, we do serve all of Davidson County.
Thank you.
Okay. Any more questions?
Do you have specific demographic background, a breakdown of like race, gender that are in the program?
We do have that. I don't have that with me, but we do have that information readily available, where we have a reporting system that we do use that tracks that information.
Okay.
Is that accessible to the public?
It is. It is. I could definitely pull that information together and get it to you all.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Wonderful. Stephen, thank you so much for sharing with us today and for bearing with us as we, get over some of these technology hurdles that we've had. But very much appreciate you spending time with us and educating us on what Family Services is doing in Davidson County to help our youth. So again, thank you for being with us. We really enjoyed the program.
Yep. Thank you so much for having me.
Okay.